One of the most important things of going wild camping is having something to do when you've found your camping site, you've had a wander around, you've made your food, and you've set your hammock or your tarp up. Have something else to do. Practice wood carving. If you're lucky enough to be with someone, you've got conversation, but learn new skills, try and identify a few wild plants, carve something, listen to an audio book, or generally write in a diary. That's another good thing to take. But you've got to have something to do. You've got to have a plan of what you're going to do with all your downtime, because once you've stopped for the night, you're going to be there for about 5 hours, so you better have something really, really interesting that you want to get done, or ideally something that can only be done out in the woods. To be honest, this TV series is one of those things for me. It's something that gives me a goal, something to do. So, keep a video diary of when you're wild camping. Show all the things that you've learned and all the things that you've done. But you must have something to do. Every episode of Back of Beyond, I want to talk about a piece of kit, just as a sort of but I'm not going to usually talk about a specific piece of kit. I'm going to talk about an idea or a piece of equipment that you could take with you. I'm not really going to focus on brands. I'm not going to review brands because loads of people out on the internet do that. Go and check out YouTube. If you're just thinking about buying something, then it'll generally cover it. There'll be some sort of article on there, and you can go there. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. I want to talk about walking poles. Now, walking poles are a fairly irritating facet of hiking, and a lot of people look at people wandering around, going on walks with a walking pole like it's a walking stick, and think, oh god, that looks really useless and crappy, and I'm not going to buy that. You could just grab a stick from out in the woods, and yes, you can. I would recommend having a walking stick of some kind with you whenever you go wild camping, because they're just fabulously useful. You can use them for all sorts of things. They can support an edge of your tarpaulin. They can give you a different angle of your tarpaulin angle if you can tie the edge of your tarp up to it and then run another paracord line down it to get a particular angle if you're trying to get it all taut. They'll hold up the middle of a secondary shelter if you're planning on having a little bit more work area and you put a poncho up. We'll be covering those as well. And they're adjustable. And the wonderful thing is about them is that they adjust. They pack down to small enough to put on or in your pack, and they're just brilliant. And having one to hand is and never using it if you're lucky enough never to go up a steep hill is a lot better. You can have it and not use it, but having one to hand is really good. They don't cost a huge amount of money, and if you really don't want to buy a walking pole and you're quite happy with a walking stick, just go and grab one out of a piece of woodland. There's loads of really amazing wood, beech, birch. You can get ash walking sticks. You can just find a piece of wood out in a woodland, cut it down to size, shape it when you're at your leisure, or sit there in the evening and just carve it into a more comfortable shape. Add paracord to it. Put if you're lucky enough to be somewhere where you can find antler, add an antler head to it. If you're fortunate enough to have like a Y-shaped end on the end, that's something worth looking for. You can use that to get barbed wire out of your way, or a bush or a tree, and you can hold it out of your way and get past it, and you can use it to overcome obstacles as well. but I was lucky enough to be given by a very good friend a collapsible walking pole, and it has proved really useful. You can do things with it like you can, because they come with a loop. And that's one thing I'd recommend you put on a walking stick if you do make one yourself. Just put a length of paracord and a loop handle on it. This one's nice and really good because it's adjustable. You can actually use it with 2 other sticks to make a tripod to dry clothes on, or to hang, not ideally to hang pots on, but you can hang stuff off it or make a nice support for something if you need to lay it out to dry or just get it off the ground. Yeah, they're brilliant. So I can recommend an adjustable walking pole if you can get one reasonably cheaply, or if there's someone that's getting rid of one. Give it a go, put it in your pack and take it with you and see how it works out for you. I mean, if I'm wrong, just reject it. But where I am, there's a lot of hills. It's quite hard to get up the hill with a reasonably heavy pack on your back when you're going to come and set up. So walking pole, good idea. Having some kind of torch is really important, and I don't like relying on batteries even if they're fresh. This is a reasonably cheap wind-up torch. It's got a carabiner clip on one end. It's got a fairly rubbish compass here, and apparently you can use it to charge up a mobile phone using this connector here and the cables that come with it. It takes about a minute or 2 to wind it for 20 or 30 minutes of light. It's got 3 LEDs. It was £6. Well worth buying in my opinion. Worth having at least one torch that runs on purely wind up. The trick that you've got to remember is, if you need to wind it up before you go to bed for a couple of minutes, or if you do need to wind it up in the middle of the night because it's running low on power, wind it up with the torch switched off. That's most important. Some form of lighting is really important if you're out in the dark in the woods, because you are almost definitely going to need to wander about at some time in the night, even if it's only just to get up and go to the loo. So my personal recommendation is this type of torch. The carabiner makes it easy. You can clip it to the inside of your hammock. You can clip it round a thong on your neck, so you've got some form of lighting, so you can light your way when you're in the dark. Really, really important. This book, Food for Free by Richard Mabey, is possibly one of the finest books that you'll ever get on foraging for wood out in the woods or in any part of the UK. It's less than £5. You can probably get it from Amazon for about £3, including postage. It has a list of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plants, and most importantly it's got photographs of all of the plants that you can eat, including some mushrooms and what to do with them. It's a tiny, tiny book. It goes in my pocket whenever I go into the woods. I would thoroughly recommend this. There are other Collins Gem books that are worth getting. They do a pocket-sized version of the SAS Survival Guide and a pocket-sized book on identifying mushrooms. I would recommend all 3 be in your pack whenever you go into the woods, because it's something to read, and B, you can wander around the woods and tag stuff that you can eat or use, or make good use of. So definitely Collins Gem books, well worth taking. Here's another tip. Some good friends turned me on to the otherwise useless bags from a famous Swedish furniture manufacturer, and they hold a lot of wood. They don't take up any space in your pack. You can just fold them down really small, and you can get all this wood in one. And they're largely indestructible. They're really hard to kill. If the only thing I would say might be a worthwhile modification is to put some sort of shoulder pad, or take the shoulder pad off a messenger bag or something like that and put it on your shoulder, because that really kills, especially if you're going up any steep incline. But aside from that, you get an awful lot of wood in them.